Hi everybody, Sneakers here. Just a small disclaimer before we begin. I've been trying to improve the audio quality of the podcast by using filters to remove some of the background noise. Unfortunately, it has cut off some of my voice every now and then throughout this episode, so sorry about that, but hopefully you'll enjoy it anyway and will be fixed next week.
Here we go, another podcast of the PvP episode coming live, and I guess I'll let Sneaks do the introduction, as always.
That was as terrible as my first episode. Welcome everybody. Yeah, this is episode 3 of the ArenaLabs PvP Podcast. We see I'm Sneakers, joined by Crayola and Tearoff, but today we are joined by our lovely guest, Fefe. Say hi.
Hi.
Welcome, Fefe.
Thanks.
So, for those who don't know who Fefe is, you're a member of Quarantine Crusaders, one of the teams that take part in the RESA Masters of the Arena tournament. You play what classes predominantly? I know you're one of the mesmer coaches for the PvP. Welcome to PvP Discord server. Is that correct? What other classes do you play?
I'm mesmer coach, but I played Necromancer in Mota.
That's really cool. I think we're going to get right into the nitty gritty straight away for a lot of the topics. But as we all know, there's the recent patch update with a lot of balance changes, not what we wanted for some of them, but some of them were welcomed. One of those being Chronomancer. I know Tearoff is wanting to learn Chronomancer, so you might have a couple of questions on the subject, but what is your initial thoughts of and changes? What happened?
I mean, the changes are welcome. Like, being able to shatter again is like really what Chrono needed for PvP. Like, yeah, not being able to shatter was just making the class dead. That's nice, but the class is still really behind everything else. Mainly, I mean, the nerf, the alacrity amount, duration you get from shattering. Like, this plus just mesmer not being really good right now just makes it good enough to be a meme. That's all.
So suitable in ranked, but maybe not in 80s or...
Yeah. I mean, everyone saw, I think, the Condi one from Dra. That is actually pretty fun, but like, it's easy to counter once you get it, and it gets, like every mesmer, it gets shut down by Fefe really hard. But this one, even more.
Okay. Obviously, the other big change with the other class that you play was Necromancer. I have a little bit of experience on Power Scourge. I quite enjoy it. Crayola is a very, very good Reaper. You obviously...
and I dislike Necro in general.
So, what was your opinion of some of the changes? I know Blood Bank was an interesting change to the Blood Magic trait, and Scourge got its shades back. So, how do you think that's affected the classes, an overall patch?
I mean, it's kind of like Necro. It's kind of like Chrono, sorry. It's just giving it back a mechanic, like just with the shades. So that's great. That makes Scourge good again. There is Blood Bank, and there is a trait in Spite that gives you quickness when you fear, and Fury.
Yeah.
Like, both the traits are like kind of nice. Like, they don't look like bad traits. But the thing is, like, the other, for example, Blood Bank, why would you run it? Like, it means you have someone overreeling you to get barrier, which is not really good, because barrier is only here for 5 seconds. So, yeah, and the other traits are really good, because you get the cleanse on Shroud, and the other one is healing when you use your F4 on Scourge or your 4 in Shroud. That is just really good on Scourge.
I've seen you play on stream, the Scourge.
Yeah, I've been playing Blood Scourge a lot. So yeah, I just play with the last trait. I don't know the name of actually. But yeah, it's the thing that heals around you and pulse, res, and ports your allies to you.
Yeah, it's
so,
not Unholy Mart, it's the bottom last one, isn't it, of Blood Magic?
Yeah.
I can't remember the now.
Wait, let me ask, then what's a good role for it? So what's it effective against, and what is it vulnerable to?
I mean, Scourge always been really good in Teamfight for sure. Because even if you take a decently aggressive build, you're always a bit supportive because of all your barrier. That's just really good in team fights, or like for your allies to rotate around. Like you're not gonna move a lot yourself because, I mean, you're necromancer, you're pretty slow.
Mhm.
And you don't have insane burst, not like Reaper. Yeah, it's a lot about team fighting.
So I'm gonna ask a little bit about Necro because play Necro, the buffs and things like that. I've seen three variants of Scourge, which are quite interesting. You've got obviously your power Scourge build, which is on the Meta Battle one. People have been developing a Mender's build, so it's really, really tanky with the barrier and like Rune of Sanctuary and abusing that and having like 10k barrier every 20 seconds or something stupid. And then there's the Condi one or hybrid. Which sort of ones are you seeing have more play or more potency in the arena?
I mean, the one you see the most is Mender because it's the easiest one to play, and like you get impact pretty easily just as soon as people focus you because it's kind of like Condi Rev, but I would say even easier. You're just really fucking tanky.
Really, really tanky. It feels.
Yeah.
Also covers so many ground as well. On the team fight, it's sometimes, if you are not very familiar of the class, might be very confusing to fight against as well.
The
Seems
AoE
like everything,
cluster.
like so many things to dodge feels like if you are not familiar with the profession.
Yeah, I mean, the red AoEs are kind of scary when you put shades down. But
Yeah.
since it's Mender, you don't really get pressured by it.
True.
So yeah, it's just about knowing if it's a Mender Scourge, you don't care about staying in the barrier. It's more about not letting your enemies be in and get 3k barrier every 10 seconds.
So you'd say it's more like a annoying fly on the wall, just constantly ticking away. More of a support role, would you say? The skirt, not the skirt.
The Mendes could be just really tanky, so you could put it on the side and just let it never die. That works as well.
More of a like bunker, Scourge / team fighting role that it's gone into now, more than the typical Necro team fighter.
Yeah, because whatever you build on Necro, you will always be on Scourge. Sorry, you will always be useful in team fights because everything you do is AoE.
Sorry, excuse me.
It's fine.
Okay, so I have a question. Let's say we put that on the side. Will it be able to pressure enough for a teammate to come +1 you and take a profit out of it?
Yeah, probably. Kind of depends what you. The thing is, like, it depends what you face. Like, you're not gonna do shit against a ranger. Like, ranger is just gonna destroy you. But if you face a Condirev or a Core Guard, you have fairly decent pressure on Mender at least. Like, you have really decent pressure, and like, I don't have more pressure than you do, or barely. So like the matchup are really even. It's only about the pluses.
Okay, so can we say that we gained another build that will not die in the side mode?
For sure.
Yeah. Okay.
I knew you were going that direction with that. Another one on the sustain pile to hate.
Hey.
I think though we spoke about this in episode 1. We really like what, from a gameplay point of view, that ArenaNet have managed to achieve with Necromancer, that all 3 specializations, Core, Reaper, and Scourge, are all viable now, rather than you have 1 or 2 okay and the other one dead.
Yeah.
From selfish reasons,
really
from selfish reasons, we hate Condis. So Core and Scourge can go die. So and Reaper can remain on top. But from a gameplay point of view, it is nice to have. If you like Necromancer, you can play any variation of it and not be a detriment to your team ranked, which is always nice. But at the end of the day, disgusting.
I think that's a good point if you look at Engie right now.
Yeah.
Hollow versus Core Engie, I mean.
Oh yeah, Core Engie is really bad.
Yeah, Flood seems like making it work though.
I don't know. The thing is, like, Floody is a really, really good Engie.
Yeah.
So like, he will make it work against player. He just outskilled by a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to nudge us into the direction of main topic of choice today, which is team fighting, which is the reason we've been kind of speaking about Necromancer particularly, and got Fefe on more than anything, because you play Necromancer and you played it for Quarantine Crusaders, played it in the motor, so you will obviously have a lot of knowledge and experience in the role to organize things. What would
I mean, I'm just the one dealing damage.
Yeah, but there's obviously things that go on in the team fight that you're going to get first-hand experience as someone who I'm the thief for our team, so I'm never. Yes, I kind of do join the team fight every now and then, but predominantly it's not my area of expertise. Creole will maybe have a couple of more questions compared to myself, but the one which I'm going to ask, I think it's a good beginning. At the start of a fight, like at the start of a game, when you're obviously seeing what the other team have in team composition like that, is there any sort of pre-game strategy that you try and get ready as a team fighter, as a necromancer? You know what targets you're going to go for, what sort of things you're going to be looking for as a team fight? Or depending, is that all map dependent? Is there any sort of pre-game ritual, I suppose?
Yeah, I mean, in every game, if we know we're gonna have a team fight at the beginning, because that's not always the case. Sometimes you just have big split, and then you have to split on the map as well. But like, we always know which target we prefer in every team fight. Like, most of the time, it's gonna be someone that has a lot of pressure, like a necromancer or a revenant, a poor rev. So yeah.
So you're always looking to kill the pressure instead of the bunker.
Yeah, often that's what we do. I mean, arguably both are decent, but the thing is, like, you can get pressured back really easily if you focus the support and go really hard on him.
That's kind
you
of
can just sustain that.
That's kind of like taking my next question now, because I was going to be like, so what is a good target priority? Because there's two ways. I know from my experience of Guild Wars 1, predominantly we used to try and take out the frontline damage dealers first, because without the damage dealers, it's an easy game for you to just pressure the backline because they've got nothing that can peel for you. Is that a similar case in high level play in ranked or ATs? Would you go knowing full well they can get healed by, say, the Tempest and things like that, or do you go pressure, as you said?
I mean, you kind of want to just kill the easier target, because I mean, kill are really important. Like, kill gives you snowball, and as soon as you get a kill, the enemy team will probably just try to run away, and then you can chase. Like, it's way easier to get killed chasing when you're outnumbering the opponent. So yeah, you kind of want to focus things that have the less mobility as well. So like, Power is a good thing to focus because it has just insane damage in team fight. But in reality, he's probably going to escape most of the time. Unless you have your Thief joining at a really clutch moment, which is like, you win team fight most of the time. It's a clutch one shot from a Thief, or like a Rev. But like, it's rare. We've seen a lot of like 2v2 between just Tempest, Reaper, and the other enemy team, Tempest, Reaper. Like, nothing's gonna happen. Nothing is gonna die. Maybe people are gonna kite because they fucked up at some point, but yeah, it's gonna come to people who actually have burst.
You've mentioned something quite interesting there, which was not necessarily like focusing the easiest target, but focusing the less mobile target, the target that can disengage like the least. I've never even thought about that before. Usually I just go, what can I kill? What's available? What's low health? That's from my thief standpoint. Never pre-game. I don't think we've ever discussed that, guys.
To be honest, sorry, what did you want to say?
I'm just saying, like, pre-game in our games, we've never discussed on who we're going to focus first. It's usually
we as we should. We do focus targets first one on mid. But I mean, I think it's definitely comes down to like the situation. Whoever are you facing? What's on your team? What's on the enemy team? I don't know anything about Scourge, so maybe Fefe, you can say. I know Reaper. Let's say if I don't have a healer, I'm not gonna engage in a full-on team fight if they have one, because that's just a death sentence. Because I can't get Shroud in time. But with Scourge, I guess you can support your team. So maybe, if somebody would want to pick up Scourge, let's say, what would they have to looking out for?
I mean, Scourge and Reaper are somewhat kind of the same, but like, Reaper is like, they're both about, you want to be safe and free cast, basically. That's how you get some sustained damage with like your axe, and even your marks are really obnoxious with stuff. I think like with Scourge, almost everything is about it because you're gonna put your shades on the node and like fear, give barrier to your allies. So you don't really have to go in. When on Reaper, you wanna go in with your shroud. So it's a lot about knowing when you can, because of course there is timings. Like if the enemy team has every CD and you go in, you're just gonna get clapped, which you don't want, obviously.
So I know we're talking mainly about Necro today. What other suitable classes? Because you've had high level play and experience with motor. Team comp obviously comes into it a little bit. Are there any sort of classes? Obviously Necro is the main class for Teamfight and Reaper, Scourge, even Core Necro. What classes do very well in the role? Say if someone's wanting to be a team fighter rather than a roamer or a duelist or a bunker.
I mean, Teamfight is basically around like a Necro and a support most of the time. So you have like right now the top of the meta is like Tempest and Firebrand for sure. I would say that Tempest goes better with Reaper and Firebrand goes better with Scourge.
Yeah.
That's
what we noticed as well.
Yeah, we tried Scourge Firebrand over the last few ATs, and it holds its own definitely. I still think the Reaper and Tempest is a better combo because I like the fire. The fire? What am I about? The power damage. Sorry, I was in a world of my own. I'm staring at fire on the screen like I've just stood by one of the braziers. The power I'm just a big fan of, and the freeze, which you can get from Shroud 5, like the big dive skill. But no, it's an interesting combo depending on what support is what sort of Necromancer play. And it all rotates around the Necromancer with the fear chains, I'm guessing, and the constant pressure it can put out. And then everybody else can pop in when they need for the play. That's sort of along the right lines.
Yeah. I mean,
Fefe, would you mention us a little for people who are having trouble in team fights, let's say? How do you decide to commit to a fight or disengage that fight as a team fight role in the team?
Like in rankeds or with actual call? That's pretty different.
We could go both, actually.
Yeah, let's talk about both.
Okay, well, in rankeds, it's pretty hard. You don't know your enemy cities unless you've actually seen them use it. But if you get to a team fight, hopefully your team already has a target. If not, just put one. Like, it's really important to put targets. So people can just press T or whatever the key is and actually focus it. You can look for peeling for your mates as well. Like, that's really important. If you see someone go in, most of the times they use something big to go in. Like, for example, if you go in on Reaper, you probably used Reaper 2 if you had to chase. So like that's all the mobility gun basically. They just have worm to port back. Yeah. So that can be really interesting to just shut them down at this moment so they have to port away. Same for power rev. If they jump in, they use a lot of energy. So like just instantly counter pressure anyone who goes in, I would say. If they're chasing your team. If your team is already winning, you just look for the lowest target probably and try to kill it. It depends on what you play as well. Like if you're a healer, of course, you're not gonna go in deep and kill someone.
So we mentioned calling targets there. We tend to do it everybody calling targets. Should there be in the team fight, say the Necromancer be the one calling targets on who to focus because they're the ones who it all revolves around, or should say someone who's coming in go, oh, this guy's low, switch, get an external view, or who's kind of responsible in an organized team environment?
Everybody, right?
And not exactly everybody, because I mean, the people who remember the CDs the most, the Necromancer a lot. But also, if you get plus by Fefe or Power Rev, they can put a target, and like that's really good. Like sometimes they just go for the one you've put, and sometimes they're closer to a target, or like they see an opportunity because they just dodge or something. So they will just put the target. Like in a team environment, it's really like everyone kind of know because you call the big cities. Mm-hmm. Like if a Tempest has no more Obsidian and what was it called? Was the other Invuln?
Mistform.
Mistform. Yeah, if it doesn't have both, like everyone in the team is gonna know and someone is gonna come actually try to spike him because he's such an easier target now. So yeah, it's about calling CDs, and then whoever has the burst at the moment, we go in, just choose the target, kinda.
Nice.
So
You know what? Our problem right now with our team that's pretty new is the team fights are usually, and there's no better way of putting this.
it's a shit show. It's an absolute shit show. Like,
I was gonna say clusterfuck.
yeah, both suitably describe it. It's like, yeah, our opening strats are usually okay. In small skirmishes, we're fine, but as soon as it comes to a team fight, it is just a mess. I know why, Crayola. Continue with your question, Crayola.
It's not a question. I'm just saying, like, if you have any help or tips, advice regarding that, I mean, what can a team do to be better body stacking, better focus, better positioning? I guess is the right term, because I feel like the clusterfuck is because nobody's really acknowledging another's position or everything that's going on around them. Let's say.
Yeah, they kind of like go in solo queue mode. Just I focus this target. I go in C. Yeah.
Yeah, or like I mean, especially in solo queue, you will see like people aren't looking behind themselves if somebody's down, or something even worse. But in a team fight environment, how do you get a team to be really well formed?
Well, I mean, good teams are like everyone has basic knowledge, so they know not to get too far from the rest of the team. Like, you don't let someone behind. Like, you don't let 3 people go in and 1 person be on its own. For example, you just want to know where your team is, and like everyone just calls everything they do. So, like, for example, I'm on Reaper. I'm gonna call. I'm just playing safe. I'm just free casting some on my axe. Just don't mind me. And then we're gonna say a burst, and I'm gonna say, okay, I'm gonna jump in and actually use my CDs. So like my Tempest is just behind me and gonna give like shocking aura that is really good to go in. And same thing when anyone has to kite, they're saying, you have to kite, I'm going this way, and like people actually just peel for the person kiting. So yeah, it's a lot about being aware of where everyone is, so you don't get alone.
So you mentioned there that you free cast and then save your almost burst skills for targets as a coordinated team. That's definitely a problem in duo queue or solo queue ranked, where everybody's just face palming their just mashing their keyboards and blowing all the cooldowns. In a coordinated team, so you just like almost auto attacking, a bit of free casting, then you go 3, 2, 1, boom.
Yeah, that's it works when it goes according to the plan. Sometimes I dodge and you're like, well, fuck, we have to wait a bit and do it again.
So I'm gonna refer things back to my time in Guild, where you would have a shot call. It's where my high level PvP experience comes from. We always had a shot caller being one of the frontline warriors who essentially calling the bursts, the spikes, and things like that. Would the Necro predominantly be in charge of that role of calling targets, like we mentioned, but also the bursts on targets? So, okay, guys, hit this rev in 3, 2, 1, bang, or would say. And telling people where to go, is that part of the role of the team? The team fire is essentially in charge of the team, or would that be anyone?
I mean, depends for what. Like, putting target on Necro is okay. You can call the burst as well, but to be honest, the best is to have it on the Thief doing it, because the Thief is like gonna go and get a backstab. So since SA is meta right now, they're gonna get a fear. They can remove wounds, and then they can really like spam headshot, interrupt a lot. So that's more Thief. I mean, often that's more Thief, but like, for example, in my team, that's more me than the Thief, because our Thief is not talking. So yeah, I have to do it, and I mean, it's okay to do it on Reaper because you have a lot of burst.
That makes me feel good that I'm doing something right.
With all that said, guys, I think like mechanically maybe this is the right things to do, but probably we are speaking of a team fight. The more quality comes from how good a team you are, probably how much you can feel the situation going on, not the team spirit. So since we are not playing something scripted, a lot of odds and stuff are changing. I think the adaptation and feeling each other is equally important. At least it feels to me that way.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense. Separate that way. Just the thing is, like, you also, I mean, of course, when you have a team, you get used to play with people, so you kind of know what kind of reflexes they're gonna have.
Yeah.
Like, if, for example, if my Tempest call, I miss one invuln and I still have one, I know they're already gonna kite some and play safe. But when we go in, like, for example, Andrew has the Tempest I play with, he's like really fucking aggressive. It's like when we're gonna go in, I know he's gonna be in front of me.
Okay. I'm gonna bring us back into, again, talk about the team fight. There's a couple of things like focusing and training down a target, and Creole mentioned it before, body stacking. I'm just wondering if you can talk a little bit about body stacking and what it is and how important it is in a team fight, if it is important at all. Some players might not be aware of what body stacking.
And the range, you know.
Yeah, right.
I mean, body stacking is
What it sounds
fairly bad in general in the game. You don't want to be too close to each other because cleave exists a lot.
Yep.
Even every auto attack in the game, besides the range one, cleave. So yeah, you never want to be too close to each other. It's kind of like, for example, Tempest. You want to be close enough to get your heal, but far enough to not get focus yourself and get pressured when you're just trying to help.
Yeah, because I believe it has like a 340 range. Water Overload? I'm not quite sure. Don't quote me on that, everybody.
Oh, the water overload is pretty big. I think it's 600.
One of them is really, really short. But, so, as a whole, body stacking is a bad thing to do. Just coordinate the burst and go in as a team at that point.
When you go in, that's fairly okay to be close to each other. Like, you're going to be close to each other because you're on a target. So, yeah. And it's always better to be close to each other than too far. Even though very close is not always the best. It's kind of like a balance and to know when to do it.
Yeah.
Like, of course, when you're going to go in on a target, everyone is going to be stacked. That's just how it is if you want to deal damage.
I love the moments most when I come in to plus somebody to heal them maybe a little bit. Like if I see somebody kiting and I see that they know that I'm gonna stealth them, let's say from NG, I really love that gameplay if players are aware of that. Because there's so much we can help each other with. As you know, even if you have water field, I can blast in it and heal you with it.
Yeah.
But I think what Sneaks was referring to, like, if you watch these really high quality games, you almost see in team fights. I mean, it's sometimes it's chaotic, so players are kind of everywhere. But a lot of times where there's focused on, it's like a train going, like almost a single player almost going like to one point, just trying to get one player down.
I mean, that's also a comp name. It used to be really good at some point, called just the Pain Train. So you just had like 2 power rev and a Fefe, and I'm not sure what, but you had a side holder and probably like something else, like maybe a support with you. And yeah, the point was just to chase the enemy and just kill them all going in instantly. So like you have so much pressure that the enemy team cannot answer to your pressure.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's really good in teamfight right now. Like if you see, obviously every Tempest runs Tornado, and you also have Elixir X on Olo. So like getting them both together at the same time just makes the team fight impossible for the enemy team for like until the end of both skills, basically.
Yeah, that's true. I feel a lot of struggle from double Tornado or double Lich. Let's say feels very very painful as a power rep to play against.
And Lich is a bit easier to deal with because
Reflect
even more. Yeah, exactly. You have Reflect, and it has only one big CC, which is like the Fear. And then again, you can have Resistance, although cleansing really fast, and you can even dodge it. The thing with Tornado and Rampage, it's a shit ton of CC and damage, and it allows the whole enemy team to free cast for a bit.
So do we can we say that Tornado needs a little bit more fine tuning?
I mean, it's to be fair, it's hard to fix Tornado. The thing is, like, even if it had lower damage than right now, like it has a lot of damage right now, even on Mender.
Yeah.
But even with lower damage, just the mechanic of having perma CC on it, because that's what it is. That's perma CC.
Yes.
I think maybe they should.
It's really good.
Maybe they should
Increase the cooldown of the CC.
No, make the cooldown. I mean, make the amount of the time you're CC'd smaller, so that they can't double CCU. You know, so you can get up before they can.
I think the reason they can double CCU is the knockback. I guess, like you can't just.
If
mean,
don't have a knockdown.
Every 3 seconds they knock you back, and then they have the 5 and the 4 that are also extra CC.
Wow.
And the issue is, like, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's every 3 seconds it's gonna knock back around you, whatever skills you use.
Yeah.
So that's what's really good.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring us back team fight thing instead of getting on balance of Tornado.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about rotation and, well, specifically in our +1 episode, how important rotations are. But as it's not really spoken about as a team fighter role. It's always the roamer, maybe the bunker, who rotate into the right fights. But as a team fight, what should you be over? There are obviously, depending on the scenario or the situation at hand, when is a good time to push to the side node? Predominantly, the team fight wants to be happening either on the middle of the map most of the time, first fight. But when's a good place to be pushing close, or should you be even pushing far and trying to pressure them as much as you can?
I mean, if you get a full team wipe on the enemy team, you're gonna push far, because the way, I mean, most of them are just gonna reset, right? And they're just gonna wait for everyone to be alive and try a big team fight. So yeah, that's one of the things. Most of the time, if you get a really good snowball, you just push far and you make sure to always have your team fight against that team fight. Because that's the point of team fight comp, right? It's to be better than the enemy and win it.
That's just one question. I just wanted to get your perspective on stations as a push far once you get a team fight. Other than that, you're kind of holding close and.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, you're kind of stuck at least 2 when you have Necro and Tempest. Or, like, I mean, any support. You're kind of stuck as 2, because as soon as you leave one of them alone, it's kind of hard for them to, like, hold a node or anything. So yeah, you want to be together. That's just the main thing. And then the team rotates around you.
So I'll go on again. I'm going to talk about something that we mentioned earlier on. I've just thought about it now. We mentioned peeling during the team fight along the burst. With peeling, what is a good way of peeling? Like, how should you look out for it, especially in ranked? In organized teams, it's quite obvious because you'll have that one person screaming on the mic, asking for heals or peels. But can you explain a little bit more what peeling is and how you can look out for it in a team fight, and what you should do if you peel?
Well, peeling is basically just focusing on helping your ally survive.
Mhm.
So, I mean, when you see a support, it's easy to say, like, peel is just healing your allies, right?
Yeah.
But you also, like, CC are like the best peel, because it's gonna remove so much pressure from the person focused.
Yeah,
That's
he
the
can
main
get time
thing.
to run away, right? To get distance as well.
Yeah. And then, I mean, even damage, that's the thing. Dealing damage to people who focus, the person that is focused in your team, is going to relieve pressure, because at some point they're going to have to stop chasing and care about their alpha as well.
I suppose that links on to what you said before about hitting the other team's damage capabilities, essentially, because they're going to be pushing you. You may be hitting their back line, and then you go for a peel and completely ruin their damage dealers. You've already pressured their backline a little bit. Say you've hit their Tempest or their guard, made him waste a lot of cooldowns on keeping himself alive. They're doing the same to ours, and we just straight away twitch and peel to save our healer, our Tempest, get an easy wipe that way.
Yeah, it works. Most of the time that actually works.
So from solo and duo queue perspective, can we give a public spot then? Even a single blind can save lives. Don't be an asshole. Use your things to save out your teammates.
Yeah, really. I mean,
Yeah.
even like on Fefe is actually one of the best pillars out of the meta teamfight classes. Because like you just have the stealth, you have the daisies, you have the blind field as well. That is so good.
You have the cleanse.
Yeah, the cleanse and extra dodge from Signet of Agility.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good.
Really the best playmaker. Right?
Yeah, right
the
now.
funnest playmaker, definitely.
Yeah, you're welcome, guys. You know. Shame, I'm never good enough to make the. I occasionally make a play every now and then, but never.
I mean, you cannot do them all the time, right? Like sometimes you just try to peel and it doesn't work out, but it's always worth trying. And anyway, it's better for your fight in general.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let's bring it back to what most people. Some people don't play as a team. Maybe they pug it, but let's bring it back into ranked. If people are in team fights, what is the one, like say, the biggest tip you can give the average player? Would it be healing? Would it be focusing, calling targets? Like, what is the biggest thing they can do to improve the team play?
I mean, the two main thing is like putting the target, focusing the target, and like not having a team that like. I mean, it happens often in ranked that like either you have no target at all, which is really bad. Either you have two people or more trying to put target, and they're like, I'm right, you're wrong. So they're just gonna spam targets on different people, and it's like you're just gonna ruin the whole team fight. So yeah, most of the time you just go with the first target anyone puts. That's just better. So yeah, I would say that the main thing, focus the target, and the other one is definitely peeling and being aware where your teammates are, so you don't push, you don't suicide 1v3 basically. That's really important.
There's something I learned from playing team sports and things like that is when someone makes a decision, or when the coach makes a decision, or your captain makes a decision, it's better for the entire team to follow that decision. Whether it is the right or the wrong decision, it's better to fail together than to all have your own individual plans and do your own thing, because that's guaranteed to fail.
Definitely.
So if you all commit to one thing, you're going to get, chances are it's going to go to plan. Organized.
Yeah, and even if the plan is bad, it has more chances to work out. And it's just better for the mentality of the team in general, even.
Yeah.
Just trust in your teammates, which is like really hard to do in ranks, for sure.
Oh yeah, it is, because
Because they're either they could be bots.
Yeah, they don't always deserve your trust.
They're not even human.
Oof.
Well, I think we've covered quite a lot there, guys. I think it's quite an interesting episode on fighting.
Hope people don't start calling this the 100 question.
Yeah, that's what it's going to be in it. We're just belt feeding and asking questions.
We didn't bombard you too much with questions, did we?
No.
Because you answered really well. This is going really well. And so I would like to take this time to actually give a shout out to everybody that's joining self-initiatively so far. Fefe, Elitex, everybody that's joining day by day. Thank you. Like, you're making this, basically.
Yeah,
thank you.
A lot of positivity happening. Quite nice to I know we've got the in-house league kicking off quite nice.
We only got positive fucking feedback.
Oh,
nothing negative, honestly.
Yeah, man, you jinxed it now.
Yeah.
Wait for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Booting off. So we've still got the in-house leagues going on, folks, which is essentially like a training gym where you get top players to talk about what's going on. If you want to duel in there involved, how do they do that, Crayola? Who do they message?
Well, message us. The description below, of course, is the links to the Discord. We should probably put the link to the Welcome to PvP Discord. That's
obviously
that would be a really proper thing to do, because it's voice chat is so important when it comes to team play, and the team play and solo queue are such different things that we really want to focus on getting players from one side to the other. Let's say that want to do that. So everything's in the description. You can contact us. We'll invite
Yes.
you.
Guys, may I mention something?
Go for it.
We had a fella who really liked the idea and contacted me, but he was on NA server. For who are on NA, we are obviously on EU, but even if you can't physically participate in it, maybe you can join the Discord and try to contact with people and still manage to get some things going on.
Yeah, take part in the discussion.
Yeah.
Could create a new meta, which I know to sustain, but something new might happen, and it's always fun talking about what we love.
Exactly.
Yeah, agree.
Thank you very much. Anyway, we can call it there, guys. What do you think? Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.